Larry Fink from BlackRock knows this very well and is deliberately keeping it from you. Because what if the Bitcoin price you see today doesn't tell the whole story? Every day, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin are quietly being bought up by the wealthy and institutions like BlackRock, MicroStrategy, and so on. It looks as if Bitcoin is still available everywhere because the price seems stable in a certain way. But that's simply not true because the big question is, what happens when there's hardly any Bitcoin left and the price goes through the roof? Let's take a closer look at this, especially with regard to BlackRock and Larry Fink, what's really happening behind the scenes and why this is now your chance to secure your future and that of your family. We're talking about a massive change in the financial world that is happening right before our eyes, or right before your eyes. It's so big that many people will only realize it when it's already too late. Bitcoin isn't just an investment, it's slowly becoming the foundation for an entirely new financial system. And while most people are confused or misled by falling or sideways prices, the wealthy are accumulating hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin every single day. You often don't see this reflected directly in the price because they do it through OTC desks, that is, they buy outside of the regular exchanges. And when you see the price drop or stay the same, don't think there's still a ton of Bitcoin left on the exchanges. The truth is, it's disappearing fast, and soon you won't be able to get any at today's prices. And one thing is certain, just watching isn't enough, folks. And it's important that you secure your Bitcoin and crypto offline. Click the link in the description below the video for more information. Check it out. Take action now. Secure this opportunity for yourself. I've already mentioned that the wealthy are buying Bitcoin through OTC desks. And yes, that has sparked some discussions. And even though these big players like BlackRock don't immediately impact the price because they buy outside the market, in a way they actually help us small investors in the long run. Now, just imagine if they didn't buy through OTC and instead left the Bitcoins on regular exchanges, there would be more supply. The price would drop, for example, and it would be harder for Bitcoin to increase in value over the long term. But by taking huge amounts out of circulation through OTC, they make the remaining Bitcoin scarcer and more valuable. And don't think there's still a lot of Bitcoin left on the exchanges just because they're buying over OTC. Soon, very soon, the price will shoot up so fast that most people won't even be able to buy 20,000 Satoshis anymore. The trick here is, grab some now while you still can and secure your share of the future before it's too late. Because as we can see, the global financial system is already shaky as it is. US national debt is now over $37 trillion. Governments are printing money like crazy. Fiat currencies like the dollar or euro are losing value massively. And your savings can buy less and less. Fiat currencies are collapsing, and history shows us that this often happens quickly and catastrophically. Bitcoin, with its limited supply and decentralized nature, offers a lifeline in this situation. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin, and millions of those are already lost forever. And as the cracks in the current system keep getting bigger, demand for Bitcoin is rising rapidly while its availability keeps shrinking. Just think about that. There are 8 billion people on Earth, but the available supply of Bitcoin is so small that soon even tiny fractions will be out of reach for most. Tiny fractions of Bitcoin. Wealthy individuals and large institutions like BlackRock or MicroStrategy use tricks such as OTC desks to hoard Bitcoin without driving up the price. And the dips you see in Bitcoin are not a sign of weakness. They're opportunities that these big players use to buy even more Bitcoin. The price you see is basically deceiving you. It makes you think there's still plenty of Bitcoin available, but that's not true. In the future, owning Bitcoin will be a privilege. Most people simply won't be able to afford it anymore. In the future, people will actually have to work for individual Satoshis. Imagine a world where wages are paid in Satoshis and even well-paid jobs only earn 5 to 10 Satoshis per hour. That might sound like very little now, but these Satoshis will keep increasing in value, maybe even infinitely. That means you have to give your best, perform at your peak, or else you might end up with something much less valuable. Even owning just 0.01 Bitcoin, that's a million Satoshis, could put you far ahead in this future economy. And the most exciting part, Bitcoin keeps getting more valuable. Unlike fiat currencies like the dollar or euro, which are dying, Bitcoin feels alive. It grows every month, every year, and that means if you act now, you're not just buying Bitcoin, you're securing yourself a piece of tomorrow's financial system. That's why Larry Fink from BlackRock also says that Bitcoin will rise to $700,000 per Bitcoin.
You can have an internationally based instrument called Bitcoin that will overcome those local fears. And so I'm a big believer in using that as an instrument. And so if that turns out to be true and you see that it could actually be a proper hedge against, say, securities or equities, question is, could you see a 2 or 5% allocation? I was with a sovereign wealth fund this week, and that was the conversation. Should we have a 2% allocation? Should we have a 5% allocation? If everyone started having that conversation, then you would see a 5 to 10% allocation. You know, it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 per Bitcoin.
It's no secret that big players don't like to pay the market price. They have the means to manipulate your perception by dropping the price and creating uncertainty, unsettling small investors. But in reality, they are buying precisely when the price drops. Quietly in the background, they buy systematically and in huge quantities at those times. And your task is to see through this manipulation. For example, when the Bitcoin price drops, don't panic, hold on to what you have, and if possible, buy more. The rich don't want you to compete with them, but by staying focused and confident, you can position yourself for the future. You are living through one of the most important moments in financial history. This is not just a normal market cycle, it's the beginning of a new era. But just watching from the sidelines is not enough. If you haven't invested in Bitcoin yet, you'll regret missing out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Because if Bitcoin becomes the dominant global currency, which it likely will, its value will be measured in Satoshis, the smallest units of Bitcoin. And everyday transactions, like buying groceries for example, could cost just a few Satoshis. And those who own Bitcoin today will be in the strongest position when we see this transition. And although Bitcoin has shown incredible growth and potential, every investment naturally carries risks. So always make sure to do your research, invest responsibly, and make decisions based on your financial goals. Because Bitcoin is more than just an investment. It is the foundation of a new financial system that we are witnessing being created right now. That means those who act now secure their place in this revolution, while others will have to work for it, earn Satoshis, and so on. And the decisions you make today will determine your financial future, guaranteed, because the fact is, the rich keep getting richer, while the rest struggle to get ahead. The question is, what do they know that the average person doesn't? It's about recognizing the truth behind building and preserving wealth. Stay tuned, because what I'm about to share with you could change your perspective on Bitcoin and your financial future forever. At the moment, Bitcoin is over $100,000 per Bitcoin. And what do the rich often want? They want small investors to sell out of fear. And then they want to snatch up those coins, like BlackRock for example. That's the game, folks. They know that Bitcoin is the future, just like they once recognized the value of land, stocks, and gold. They buy when there's blood in the streets. They don't care if the price drops. They see the bigger picture. And here's the truth. Wealth is not built during bull markets. It's built during times of chaos, during downturns, in moments when everyone else is running away in fear. The masses panic and sell, while the smart, patient investors accumulate and buy more during these times. And let me ask you something. Do you want to be the person who sells their Bitcoin only to watch it rise to $1 million, $10 million, $13 million per Bitcoin in the future and get bought up by BlackRock? Because that's exactly where we're headed. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's a revolution in money, and the wealthy know it. Here's the thing, most people can't see or predict the future. They're too caught up in the noise of fear-driven headlines. Oh no, Bitcoin has dropped a few $1,000s. So what? Do you think the wealthy panic when that happens? No, they hold on, they even buy more during those times. And in the meantime, the small investor, the retail trader, the individual investor, sells at a loss, gives up on their future because they're too focused on the present. It's a blessing when Bitcoin drops. A blessing. You should thank the market when that happens because it's giving you another chance to buy more Satoshis before Bitcoin rises again. And let me explain to you why you shouldn't want Bitcoin to shoot up to $1 million per Bitcoin tomorrow. Because the big question is, do you have enough to really benefit from it? If you don't have enough yet, then why the rush? You need more time to buy more Satoshis to build your position because Bitcoin rewards those with patience, not those who are impatient. The rich know this. That's why they hold on, no matter what the market looks like. They think 5, 10, 20, 30, 50 years ahead. But the hard truth is, most people don't have the courage to do that. They panic at the first sign of trouble, selling out of fear instead of holding Bitcoin with conviction. And that's exactly why they stay poor. And if you want to break out of the cycle, you have to think like the rich. You have to see Bitcoin for what it truly is. The hardest, safest form of money ever created in the world. Bitcoin is not just an investment, it's a lifeline. An escape from a broken financial system that benefits the few at the expense of the many. So my advice now is, stop panicking, stop selling, start learning, start holding, and above all, start accumulating. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You don't have to be rich to build wealth with Bitcoin. You just have to be consistent, disciplined, and patient. Because let me tell you one thing, Bitcoin isn't going anywhere. Governments, institutions, the Wall Street elites, they're all turning to Bitcoin and will be buying Bitcoin. They see the future and want their share of it. So the question now is, Will you still have your share when the dust settles? Think long term. Think about generational wealth. Think about your children, your grandchildren, and the legacy you're building right now. The wealthy don't sell their assets during tough times, they hold on and come out stronger. Keep that in mind. So now it's time for you to do the same. Trade, click the link in the description below the video.